If you had one shot or one opportunity to seize everything you ever wanted in one moment, would you capture it or just let it slip? Yo. His palms are sweaty, knees weak, arms are heavy. There's vomit on his sweater already. Mom's spaghetti, he's nervous, but on the surface he looks calm and ready to drop bombs. But he keeps on forgetting what he wrote down. The whole crowd goes so loud, he opens his mouth, but the words won't come out. He's choking how? Everybody's choking now. The clock's run out, time's up, over, loud. Snap back to reality. Oh, there goes gravity. Oh, there goes gravity. Choke. He's so mad, but he won't give up. Daddies, he know he won't have it. He knows his whole back to these ropes. It don't matter, he's dope. He knows that, but he's broke. He's so stacked that he knows when he goes back to this mobile home, that's when it's back to the lab again, yo. This old rhapsody better go back to this moment and hope it don't pass him.
Listen, we can talk about the flag, but let's talk about the team. Wait.
And good morning, everybody. Welcome to Trending in the AM right here on DSM Media Live. As always, Facebook, Twitter, Twitch, YouTube. You know the drill. Like, share, retweet, depending on which platform you're watching on. And do us a favor, if you'd like to get interactive with the show, the best place to put your comments and get interactive with us is on the YouTube page. And if you're watching on the YouTube page, do us a favor, make sure you click that like button and subscribe button. We are literally, I think, 3 subscribers away from 600, which then means the chase to 700, 800, 1,000 then begins. But that is the best way to get interactive with the show right there. We'd greatly appreciate that. I am your host, Phil Stifle, at Beard of Knowledge on Twitter. Make sure you shoot me a follow. We've got Intern Cole at Cole PT628 on Twitter. We got Dylan Davis at DylanJD98. Gentlemen, good morning today. And I don't know what the hell we're going to talk about because it's one of the slowest sports mornings in the world. There's nothing.
I know.
No football, no baseball, no basketball, nothing going on at all.
I know what we can talk about. What's going on, Shane? We talk about changing Cole's name because he's the only intern I know that doesn't do any damn intern work.
Exactly. Yeah. At least my last intern I had at my last network actually did some work on a regular basis.
If we want to get in, do we want to get into it right now? Do we want to get into it?
Do we?
We want to? Yeah, we want to. I was told. I don't want to. I'm not gonna say it online.
Can I ask a question, Cole? Because I'm not a boss at DSM. Dylan's the boss. Scotty's the boss. Are you literally getting internship credit for this? Because
No,
I actually had a guy getting.
I haven't yet, but I have 2 internships. I have an internship through my school as well. So if I need to, I can get it through them. But I won't get into. I'm not gonna say it when we're live.
Dylan, I think you offended. It's Cole there.
No, he didn't offend me. It's just that there was some circumstances and there were some things that were said that went along with the internship that didn't happen. So,
all right, let's stop.
Because you haven't done any intern work.
Even when I was Dylan,
what'd you do? Put out the schedule every other day?
that's what you told me to do. You told me that you would tell me what to do, and I would.
Look how mad he's getting.
Oh my god!
Oh, this made my morning already. Great. All right, so. All right, I got a list of topics that we're going to talk about. Okay, where's his pay? Interns don't get paid. Just so you know.
That wasn't the circumstance that were promised. Kata opened Pandora's box.
Yeah, no. Interns don't get paid. Co-ops you get paid for, but interns are not things you get paid. Yeah. Half right there.
Not. I would say Dylan is not a state. That is not true. That is not true.
Oh my man. Hey, half was great. I was over on the Painted Lines last night. Shout out to those guys. Great show. We're going to talk a little Eagles because they got my mind percolating. We're going to talk Eagles later on the show because the over-under show last night got my mind percolating a lot on Eagles talk. It was really got me hyped up. I want to start with Sixers today. We're going to talk some Sixers. James Harden, obviously, with his comments, his wine, his party this past weekend. So we're going to talk Sixers. We're going to talk Phillies a little bit. Somebody from the Phillies past is in the news. And I want to bring that conversation up a little bit. Joe Giglio or Jiglo or whatever his name is with the most outlandish clickbait comment of all time yesterday. We're going to touch on that. We're going to ask you guys. Actually, let's start with this. The All-Star game was last night. I put out a tweet yesterday. Over under 2.5 innings that I was going to watch. Cole, did I get the over or the under on 2.5 innings?
I'm going to say the under because I had the under too, and that was 0.
Yeah. I did not. I did see 2 pitches of the game. I don't know what 2 pitches, but I did click it on, saw 2 pitches and clicked it off. Dylan, did you watch any of the All-Star game last night?
I watched every inning, and it was the most wasteful time I could have spent my night. All because money was involved, but like it was the longest 3 to 4 hours ever. It was the most boring 3 to 4 hours ever. At one point, so you guys didn't watch the game. At one point, the National League went 0 for their last 23 or 22 plate appearances. They scored 2 runs in the first inning and didn't score again the rest of the night. It was maybe the most boring All-Star game ever.
Is base because I see Half's comment, the All-Star game in every sport is a joke. I actually, up until recently, still was a very big fan of baseball's All-Star game festivities and week. I think it's the best of the bad for sports there at All-Star game festivities, the home run derby, etc. But to me, there's a couple different issues with the All-Star game. First off, absolutely, this wasn't even going to be one of them. This is another one. The broadcasting at ESPN for baseball, period, is brutal. The All-Star game announcing and the home run derby announcing, awful. We talked about the home run derby and Carl Ravage yesterday, how bad he was at that. I think baseball lacks star power. Now, there's stars in baseball if you're a diehard baseball fan, but there's no baseball players that transcend the sport. There's no Barry Bonds, there's no Mark McGuire's, there's no Alex Rodriguez, guys that you see in commercials, guys that you see in TV shows, guys that walking down the street are being mobbed by fans. As an older guy, I mean, in the 90s, even in the early 2000s, there were guys like that on a regular basis in the sport. Who's the biggest star in baseball? Mike Trout, probably, right? Would an average person walking down the street know who Mike Trout is if they bumped into him?
Probably not.
No. And I think that is what the problem is with baseball right now. They don't do a good enough job marketing their top stars.
Not at all.
And that's a problem. Do you guys agree with that?
Yeah, absolutely. I think the thing is, in no other sport would Mike Trout be that unrecognizable. Because let's put it this way: Mike Trout is. You can make an argument for Mike Trout to be the greatest baseball player ever.
Absolutely. Yeah.
All right. Why? How can somebody who can be considered the greatest baseball player ever, America's pastime, not be noticed by everybody? Like anybody sees LeBron walking down the street, they're gonna know who he is. And he's arguably the greatest basketball player ever. So
let's talk that. I know you like to throw that in whenever you can on this show.
But I just don't understand how you can have somebody like Mike Trout. And I get it's because he's on the Angels, and the Angels are terrible, and they're poorly run.
They're in LA, like a massive market.
But I mean, yeah, but they're also not even the biggest team in LA. Sure. But I would say, yeah, it doesn't make sense. I would say that even the Angels in general, now that they have Shohei Ohtani and Mike Trout, how that isn't being marketed.
Because they suck still.
Obviously, Ohtani is a massive worldwide star, not just in America. And honestly, if Ohtani walked into my pizza shop, I wouldn't know it was show what?
Shohei Ohtani.
Shohei Ohtani. I wouldn't know. I can't even say his name. And he's probably one of the most marketable baseball players in the world.
He should be the most. He should be the most marketable baseball player in the world.
He's doing what Babe Ruth used to do.
Yes, he's our modern time Babe Ruth. He's doing exactly what Babe Ruth used to do.
Okay, yeah, but Babe Ruth, he was definitely doing it better than Babe Ruth. Babe Ruth wasn't.
Sure.
Yeah, but, absolutely. Okay. You're not wrong there. But this is the problem that the sport has.
Yeah.
Literally, I did not care.
There's guys out there.
Who won the MVP last night? I don't even know.
Stan Judge. Or Stan.
No, Stan.
See? He had a home run.
The problem, MLB is the least it's right there with the NHL as least marketable, and it might even be below the NHL at this point. Like, there's guys there. There is Mike Trout. Although I was having a conversation last night, and I love Mike Trout, and he's local, and he's one of the most talented baseball players I've ever seen. But my man needs to stay on the field more before we get into any greatest of all time kind of conversation, because he's hurt again.
I wasn't saying he was.
I know.
Yeah, okay.
I know.
He could be or could have been.
The argument's there.
And everyone's young too, and they're bringing fun back to the sport. If Tatis could stay healthy, Tatis is greatly marketable. Acuna is marketable. Ohtani, Trout, Judge is marketable. Soto's marketable. They have a ton of young talent that's marketable. They just don't do a good enough job. And like last night, you guys didn't watch the game. They had a bunch of really cool things within the game. They had pitchers mic'd up as they were throwing, and they were talking about, and it was funny, and like what they were going to do, and there was like some trash talk involved, and then they had the ump cam, where every few pitches they would show from the ump's perspective. They should be doing things like that on the ESPN and national broadcast throughout the season, not just one time during the All-Star game. That would bring people in.
Absolutely agree with you. And look, you mentioned a bunch of those names, but I just keep thinking back to like when I was younger, when I was Cole's age, in the late 90s.
Like the 70s?
No, that's Mark. Mark was in the. I was growing up in the 80s.
Oh, wait, Mark was the 70s. You were the 80s. Jason was the 90s. Got it.
Jason's the 70s guy too.
Oh, okay.
Like you can name like we talk about in basketball, LeBron. You mentioned LeBron. The 10th most famous basketball player right now is recognizable. Whoever you want to say that is. In baseball, back when I was growing up, Greg Maddux. He wasn't the greatest and most famous person, but Greg Maddux. He was in commercials every other day. He was doing this, and he was the 10th best at that time. He wasn't even the best pitcher at the time. So, they used to do a really good job. I think there's also what you're saying, Dylan, is right. But I think it's because basketball and football have taken over so much star power that baseball can't keep up with them. But they've got to do things like you're saying to maybe excite the young crowd.
There's been no signs of being able to adapt to what's going on or being able to adapt to your competition.
This is actually this is a problem.
That's where I was going. I was saying if you put Mike Trout and Tyrese Maxey together and they were walking down the street, I guarantee you Tyrese Maxey gets noticed more than Mike Trout.
Yeah.
And Tyrese Maxey is like not even probably the top 25, top 30 most recognizable basketball players.
One of the best commercials from my childhood. Well, not my childhood, because I was probably a little bit older at this point, and half if he remembers Maddox. There was a commercial Greg Maddux did. I think it was with John Smoltz, and they're walking around the baseball field, and there were these hot chicks watching Chipper Jones hit home runs, and Maddox looks at Smoltz and's like, chicks dig the long ball, so they start pumping weights, and they go start swinging a baseball bat and stuff like that. There was literally 4 guys on one team, recognizable across the country.
Yeah. Takada's last point, there is a little bit of truth to it. Like baseball players really do tend to look like average Joes. Like the catcher for the Blue Jays, who was an all-star starter last night, Alejandro Kirk. Dude, he's 5'7" and chunky. Like if he's walking down the street, no one's supposed to like pick him apart from the group. Outside the outliers like Stanton and Judge, who are 6'7", 6'5", you're not. Baseball players are really just you and I.
And this sounds in my head very racist, but it's not meant to be racist whatsoever.
Oh, that's a good.
Is there a problem?
Nice start, Phil.
Yeah, I know. Is there a problem in baseball because Americans don't play baseball? Like the kids aren't growing up. Like if you look at the All-Star game last night,
I get what you're saying.
That was not as bad as what I was.
Yeah.
You scared the
They're
hell out
all
of me.
the South American type,
the Dominican Republic,
Dominicans, Cubans, Mexicans. They're the guys that are playing baseball. They're the famous players. They're the big players. They're not relatable to the average fan in the United States. Baseball is America's pastime, but there's nobody from America outside of Mike Trout and a few that are superstars. Is that part of the problem? Does baseball need to spend time grassroots building? Look, I own a pizza shop. We sponsor Little League teams all the time. The KU, it's the Kennett Area Community Little League. There's like 90. They struggle to put 8 players on a team because kids aren't signing up to play baseball in our country. The American pastime. Is that what the root of the problem?
They should be.
I would say the issue.
I tell Jason, my golf podcast co-host, his son Jax is 5 years old, just graduated preschool. I'm like, you should have him working on his left arm, be a left-handed relief pitcher for the next 20 years, making you could retire instantly. There's plenty of money in baseball, but he doesn't want to play baseball. No kids want to play baseball in this country, and I think that's the problem right there.
I would say it's sad. I mean, I didn't want to play baseball either.
It's sad. Yeah, you play lacrosse.
I should never have said that line.
Go watch professional. You do probably.
I do. I would. Yeah, I do. I was literally there a few weeks ago. But I will also say this: the professional lacrosse league markets their players better than almost any team, any league, especially better than the MLB. It's just the sport doesn't have as much natural fans. But if the MLB marketed like the PLL does, it might be the biggest league in the entire world. I think it could pass the NFL.
What?
The MLB, if they marketed like the PLL.
Oh.
Yeah,
Oh,
no,
yeah.
They
PLL,
just
no.
don't market it right.
They just
They
don't market
really
it.
need to target
all.
the kids. Look, all these comments from KC, Half, sorry, look, people, lacrosse, soccer, all these sports are taking over the youth movement.
Yeah.
Whoops.
There is a wait list to get into the Southern Chester County Soccer League for young kids right now. That's how many kids are signing up to play in the Southern Chester County Soccer League. A wait list. Lacrosse. There was not a lacrosse team till I got to college when I was growing up. For me to even, I didn't know anything about lacrosse till I hit college because it wasn't big in Delco.
Great sport.
It
Great
wasn't.
sport.
Hard to say
Well,
what's
I don't know. I don't know about the suburbs, but I know at least 4 some suburbs. Like I know, like there's lacrosse is taking over baseball in Philly.
it is.
It definitely is. I mean, Philly's probably one of the outside of Long Island and Baltimore, the biggest areas for lacrosse, and I think it's a lot of bigger areas are getting taken over by other sports, and I think that's the killer thing. You got the smaller areas that are still baseball driven. That just, I
Phil.
mean.
Go back to Shane's last comment because I think this is part of the point. Like this is the problem of not being able to adapt, not being able to adjust. It's never going to happen because you have like, what is everyone? If you talk to someone and they're like, I hate baseball. Why? What's their answer every time? It's boring. It's too long. It's whatever.
They're
right?
going to trim the amount of games, but they are trying to find ways to make the games quicker.
But it's stupid. But the ways are stupid. Like it makes no sense. Like we're going to implement a pitch clock and it's going to shave 15 minutes on. No one cares about the 15 minutes. Like,
well, then what's the answer? How are you going to make the game quicker and more efficient?
7 innings? No, I'm kidding. But
I thought you were going to say. I'm in my head. I'm like, Dylan's going to say 7 innings. That's it.
I mean, you guys, it's right. Baseball is 162 games. It's long. But I would say the one thing that's probably saving baseball is the fact that it's literally for half the year the only sport that's on. Like if I want to watch a sport, I have to watch baseball because all the other sports are either off season or don't play as consistently as baseball. I watch baseball probably Monday through Thursday, and then on Sundays I'll tune in a little bit just because obviously like Fridays and Saturdays PLL's on, so I'm watching that over the MLB. But there's just so much more. There's nothing competing with baseball, and I think baseball has gotten lazy.
Yeah, I agree. And you know what? Baseball, we talked about this on Monday, I believe. Me and Jason did for like 2 minutes. Baseball's also not conducive to the fans. Look, the Phillies just came off a sweep of the Marlins, correct? Ended a potentially devastating losing streak a little quicker than I thought. 2 of the first 3 games that they're going to have out after the All-Star break on streaming services that the average baseball fan does not have. So the first game Friday night is on Apple Plus. Well, I don't have Apple Plus, so I guess I'm not watching Friday night's game. Sunday's going to be on Peacock. Didn't we already have a disaster with Peacock the last time?
Yeah.
So you're not only struggling to keep the fans, you're making it harder for the fans that want to watch to tune in. There was a point in my life not long ago that I still watched at least 3 innings of every single Phillies game. Every single one. I never missed a Phillies game. Now, I tune into 2-3 innings 2-3 times a week.
Right. Because, I'm not gonna lie. I watch most Phillies games when I can, even when I was especially right now. Like I'm pretty sure you, Phil, are watching them as much as you can as well with how they're trying to make a postseason push. But that's for someone that's been watching the game that was showing the game when I was 3-4 years old.
Yeah.
And I love it's not how it is anymore. And
how do we change this game? Like KC's saying, change it in a major way. I don't know if there's a major change to the sport of baseball.
And here's the issue is it's for me at least. I feel like it's just the MLB. I feel like the MLB is the reason that baseball is. I wouldn't say it's like because I commentate for JUCO baseball and it is completely different. It is completely enjoyable to watch. And I don't know if that's just because it's my friends and I'm commentating, I'm doing something, not just sitting there watching. But it is so. I would much rather watch that than watch the MLB. Mm-hmm. It's just not the same as it used to be.
Yeah, I don't know what the answer is. I think there's been a few comments in the comments section that has said it. It might have to start with getting rid of Rob Manfred and finding a young, fresh.
Might.
Well, yeah, not might. It should. Yeah.
Make Katahat the commissioner.
And that
boy.
would be bad for the. Did you ever
boy.
see the American Dad episode where they put Steve in charge of baseball?
Listen,
And they got robots out there. They got lasers shooting guns off in the. It's this whole thing.
I'm gonna be honest. I think the only rule he would have he would make steroids mandatory. And Phil, how fun was baseball during the steroid era?
It was a blast.
It was the best.
I mean, mandatory is a little bit of a harsh word, but you could.
I would. I when he first told me that, I was like, all right, you're just like
turn the other cheek.
Yeah,
not pay attention.
So to counter the steroids, they are banning the shift, which is going to create
Good.
more offense, whichever, blah, blah. I'm against it, first off. Anyway, that's a side subject there. But what is more offense going to do to the game?
Make it more enjoyable.
Make it more enjoyable. What if
it's already if you average a 6-5 game and all of a sudden now it's going to be 8-7 every game.
What's that going to be? I'm talking.
That's going to be an extra 30 minutes in the game.
You juice up Aaron Judge. You juice up Carlos Stanton. You juice up Bryce Harper.
Dude.
All right, you great segue. So we were going to talk about the party, the Michael Rubin party, James Harden wine release. Did you see who was at that party hanging out with Joel Embiid and James Harden?
Aaron Judge.
Aaron Judge is a free agent. We need more right fielders and left fielders on this team. Maybe James Harden is doing some negotiating there to get Aaron Judge to Philly.
Did you see Aaron? No, you didn't watch the game. Aaron Judge was interviewed before the All-Star game last night.
I saw that clip.
The reporter asked him, basically said that a fan or whoever, had mentioned about him not being a Yankee and how it would break his, whatever the question was, and what will his future look like. And he basically told the fan, like, hey man, like you'll always love the Yankees, and I hope you always love me. To like I don't know, bro. It didn't sound like he's coming back.
I would say
you need another right fielder.
Want to hear my honest opinion? I don't think he's coming back because I think that Juan Soto is going to be a Yankee.
Could be.
I mean, I would honestly, I'd rather have Juan Soto than Aaron Judge.
Joe Giglio, or Joe Gigo, or whatever the freak his name is, saying that we should trade Bryce Harper and move on from that to get,
You mispronounced Jason Voorhees.
Jason Voorhees? What's wrong with Jason Voorhees?
You said trade Bryce Harper.
That was last year.
Yeah,
last year.
I know. Well, Joe is going to take over Jason's spot as the biggest meme when it comes to Bryce Harper. So
he's already the biggest meme.
That's the dumbest thing. I mean, I know he's known as Mr. Clickbait.
Yeah, he's doing it for what we're doing right now.
Yeah. So now someone's going to go look up him on Twitter.
Have a serious conversation and his clickbait. I mean, there's a lot of comments, KC and Chile, saying Mexico and the Spanish leagues are entertaining. And that's why we're not attracted to baseball, because nobody in America cares. They're all Dominican, Spanish, Mexicans, all playing baseball in the majors right now. They're not relatable to us as people.
Kata's point is another one. I just brought this up on the show the other day. I when it comes to NFL draft, NBA draft, do I know every prospect? Hell no. But you're plugged in, and especially that's because the NCAA, football and basketball are a lot more marketable than the baseball is. But dude, I couldn't tell you any of the top prospects coming into each year's draft. Not like literally probably not one. And that's another problem you have, because you don't know them till they get up here, and then even when they get up here, people don't know them.
But it wasn't always like that.
I know.
Before Utley, Rollins, and all those guys came up, I knew who they all were in Myers.
Well, y'all knew. You knew who Bryce Harper was when he was 17 years old.
Exactly. They did do it at a point. And what's the difference between then and now? Who's leading the charge in baseball?
Oh yeah,
Rob Manfred.
He wasn't the GM or the commissioner back then.
Yeah.
So it really does, in my mind, have to start at the top. It really does. And even if you fire Rob Manfred, it's not going to solve all the problems immediately. Maybe it starts a thing, but maybe it's time for baseball to start investing in the little leagues, in the communities, getting these players. Do we see our athletes? Jalen Hurts just had a football camp. Do we see Bryce Harper in camps around Philly in the off season? Do we see him go into like training facilities and work with kids? No. The only people I could think of in the last 20 years I ever see on the news at a quote unquote camp is Larry Boa, Charlie Manuel, old timers, and that's it. And the kids of today don't know who Larry Boa is. Yeah. So there's a problem right there. Yeah, bring back the juice. That's right.
Bring back the juice. Juice them up.
Nah, you don't even have to bring the juice. Just bring the cream and the clear. Just rub it on your bicep there. That little white lotion,
There you
That
go.
I know that similar to that is
Why do
when
I even know what that is?
they banned the spider tack and stuff. I was mad about that. Bring back juice. Let the pitchers use spider tack. Let's make baseball fun again.
Yeah, I mean, something's got to go because baseball's falling really far behind. There will be a point in America, not in the next couple of years, but there will be a point at this trajectory where baseball's probably the 5th or 6th most important sport.
What's going to pass it? What's going to pass it? What's going to pass it?
Soccer will pass it in this country at some point.
We'll be set.
May, and hockey may. I doubt it, but it may. But soccer will definitely pass baseball at some point in this country.
It's sad because it's my third favorite.
Yeah.
Your third? What do you like, basketball?
There was nothing I wanted as a kid more than to be a baseball
player. I was just making sure it's basketball and football.
All right.
One more baseball hockey out there.
I want to throw one more fun little topic out there on baseball. Our old best friend, closer Jonathon Papelbon, the leader all time in Philly saves, Jonathon Papelbon.
Really?
Was out there yesterday speaking somewhere, and he basically trashed Philly. Said Philly is a trash organization. Bryce Harper's a sucky leader. Basically just badmouth Philly left and right. Why do we care so much about what Jonathon Papelbon said?
I don't.
And is there a player
he looks like Fred
more
Flintstone.
hated? Is there a player more hated in Philly sports that has a team record? He's the closing. He's got more saves than anybody ever. But he's hated beyond belief in this city.
I wouldn't say a team record, but there are athletes more hated. Nambi Asawa, Ben Simmons, just to name a few. Jonathon Papelbon was solid on the field, but no, Fred Flintstone can shut up. Nobody cares.
Right, here's his Bryce Harper quote. I'm not sure what's going on with Bryce Harper right now. Thumbs, wrists, fingers. Hard to come back from as a hitter. I don't see him as a huge leader of the team because he was never a leader when I played with him. He kind of went about his business and was more of a me guy and an I guy and wasn't really into helping the clubhouse and didn't have that kind of pull with the team. Dude, that still sounds like a guy that's bitter over fighting Bryce Harper in the dugout.
Dude, he played with Bryce Harper when Bryce Harper was like 22 years old.
Yeah, he was an arrogant 20-year-old. I hate to say it, that's normal.
It's not even, forget the arrogant part. Like, even if he wasn't arrogant, which I'm sure he was, but he's not going to step right in as the 19, 20, 21-year-old, even if he's the best player on the team, and be the leader in the clubhouse. What are you talking about?
And on the Phillies organization, it's always been kind of chaotic in Philly with the fans, the players, and the front office. It's like a shit show there. And for me, I see the shit show continuing. I mean, they fired their manager, 2 months into the season? As long as that kind of stuff happens, Philly will never win again.
Yeah, well,
tell me you don't watch Phillies baseball?
Exactly. It's an outsider not paying attention to what was happening and just seeing an outcome and saying that this is a problem. Yeah, does it sound great that they fired their manager 2 months into the season? No, but go research just a little bit and you'll see why, and then see what they've done after the manager was fired, and then make your comment, you idiot. But again, he made those comments because he knew how Philadelphia fans are and how they'd react. Is that how he actually feels? Maybe, but I'm sure it's partially how he feels and partially he knew he was stirring the pot.
Yeah.
If you guys go back, I don't know if you caught it, and for those watching, go back and check the thumbnail out on YouTube for the show. Again, make sure you like and subscribe if you're watching on YouTube right now. The thumbnail for the show, I got a James Harden picture because I want to talk James Harden and all, and his hands are up like this, James Harden. And I put a picture of Papelbon from the crotch grab game right in James Harden's hands. I did purposely do it that way.
Did you really? That's funny.
I did.
You're getting good with it, Phil.
Sometimes I have. Yeah, it's still a cheesy picture because
Oh, I see it.
Yeah.
And then, whoa, what's this? Your face is in his other hand.
Am I?
Oh yeah, you're right there.
No, I didn't notice that one.
James Harden.
James Harden and I are tight like this, you know.
Yeah.
He texts me when we bash him on this show. He texts me to let him know, that he wasn't happy about it. We need to take somebody else, guys. Yeah, unless certain people are watching, they don't even know what I'm talking about there.
Nah.
So No
Fill your
celebrities,
ladle.
athlete text a
Bearded
podcast.
on knowledge.
Just to say this out there, athletes do not text low-level podcasters. Just
Nope.
so you know. If you're watching,
Nor
just
watch.
so you know.
Nor watch.
Nor watch your show and get pissed off at you. They do not care about low-level podcasters. Just digging a hole right there. I guess not only am I not getting invited to Thanksgiving dinner, I'm not getting invited to Christmas dinner now either. So.
Oh, don't worry. You can come to me and Mark's Thanksgiving dinner, Phil.
I love it. I love it. Yeah, we got to clip that segment out of Mark right there. All right, let's talk James Harden. So the reports came out. He gave his little interview, his little comments during his wine release party. Another big shindig. What was more fun? Checking out the pictures from that wine, release party at Michael Rubin's, or the Jewish wedding that Joel Embiid was doing the dance at. I mean, it was a fun weekend in Philadelphia Sixers land for our two top stars. But James Harden said, look, the quote is, I told Daryl Morey, pay whatever you need to everybody else to get them here because I want to win. Just give me whatever's left over. Is this legitly proving that James Harden cares about one thing, cementing his legacy and winning a title?
Mhm.
Or is this where there are no other options, for him at this point? Mark, you checked in literally 2 seconds too late. Mark, just so you know, Mark, Cole already invited me to Thanksgiving dinner with him at your house. Okay.
And your daughter.
This show is
Mark really showed up right after. I heard Philly's dinner at 2:30.
show.
He goes to bed by 6:30. So
Sometimes
That's when the pumpkin pie comes out.
pie is the worst pie in the world. Just so you know.
That's
False.
valid.
No,
I mean,
False.
that's not valid.
that is no hot
I
take.
wouldn't say the worst. I wouldn't say the worst, but it's not good. It's like
not
so mid.
pumpkin anything is not. Good.
It's literally the Furcon Cork Maz of pie. It's just
Watch
like
your mouth. Watch your mouth.
I would
average.
put more like it's like the Tony Rotna pies or the Brandon Davies of
I'd
pies.
rather it be the Tony Roten of pies than Furcon Cork Moss of pies, okay?
All right. So James Harden.
Yeah,
let's
Mark.
get
Yeah.
to the point here, guys.
All right, Mark. I'll make sure I bring another dessert then. It's fine. You want to have the pumpkin pie?
James Harden.
That's
James
fine.
Harden statements.
So-
James Harden statements. Dylan, go.
So, no, like it's the only thing it's showing you. Like, people had this idea in their minds, or at least some people on social media, that because he's already made a boatload of millions of dollars, it doesn't matter that he's cutting down what he's going to make in the next 2-3 years. Yes, it does. You turn down 15. I don't care if you have $100 million in your bank account. You have an opportunity to sign on a dotted line and get another 47.5 or take a $15 million pay cut. You do it. No one would. Did Damian Lillard do it? No. Did Bradley Beal do it? No. Is Kevin Durant going to do it? No. So it's James Harden is showing you that he wants to win, and he's putting his money where his mouth is, and that's all there is. I saw there was an article in the Inquirer, Mike Sileski or whatever wrote it, basically saying it's Harden doing it as a shtick or as a spin, and the Sixers are more so doing him a favor by building a better roster than him taking the pay cut. Okay. That's a take. It's the wrong take, but it's a take.
I mean, yeah, he took less money so the Sixers could do him a favor of building a better roster so they
Right.
can win a title. That's how it works.
But yeah, I mean, it's the only thing those quotes prove is that he's putting his money where his mouth is.
Yeah. Look, you know what? He could have declined, become a free agent, and just signed. Someone would have given him a 3-year, $90 million deal, 4-year, 100. Someone would have done it. He also could have just picked up the $47 million option. He could have demanded the Sixers give him a max deal. And the Sixers would have had no choice but to give him that max deal. So I think this eliminates any question on James Harden's desire to win a title, James Harden's desire to be the team player at this point, in my opinion.
It's not just the quotes, Phil. It's what you're seeing him do all season. Now, I know he's got the wine, he's got his other business stuff, but I've already seen him working out or in the gym. Not saying that all NBA players don't do it, but I've already seen him in the gym with other Sixers and Sixers coaches 4 or 5 times this offseason already, and that's just, what we see. So he's dead serious about it, and I'm trying to find the article so I can pull up the one quote, but
first off, every NBA player is in the gym at some point. It's just very few.
No, I know.
Everybody gets all worked up all the time over the Ben Simmons workout videos. That's because he's got a camera crew following him around all the time. Every guy is in the work. If you're not working out in the off season, then that means that there's a problem there. But James Harden, yeah, he's putting the work in. I love the video clip from earlier, a couple weeks ago, him and Sam Cassell working out together. And I think
that's what I'm talking about.
Not losing Sam Cassell to another team as a head coach was a big win for the Sixers organization.
That was part of my point. He's not out in LA like a former Sixer would be working out with, not that it's a bad thing, but working out with like John Wall and whatever, running 5-on-5s. He's in a small gym with an assistant coach and the young star that's going to, that he's going to be playing next to. So that's a little bit of the difference, but he said a lot in this article, man.
Yeah. So does James Harden need a title to cement his legacy? I mean, Scotty's saying Harden is an all-time great. He is an all-time great.
I wouldn't say
the difference between having that one title and no title. That's the difference between him being a top 50 player all time or a top 100 player of all time. Or does it not matter at this point in his career?
He's getting top 75 all time no matter what. But I don't think the title's as much about his legacy. I think it's more for himself just to say he's done everything in his career. The guy has nothing else to do in his career. He has an MVP. He's gotten to the finals already. He's gotten to the conference finals multiple times. He's made multiple NBA first teams. He's won scoring titles. He's won playoff series. He has nothing else. He's come back from down 3-1. There is nothing else for him to do in his career but win an NBA title. He's doing it for himself, and rightfully so. Like, he doesn't care. I don't think James Harden cares if he's considered top 75 or top 50. I think James Harden cares about completing his career.
Is there more pressure on him to win a title now?
Yeah.
Like, I mean, I look at him, Daryl Morey, Joel Embiid. Who's got the most pressure? James Harden and Daryl Morey, to an extent. They're the two guys on the Sixers right now in this organization that have the most pressure to get that chip and prove that they can make it work.
Right. James Harden, I think that all three of them have extreme pressure. I don't think any of them care, though. Okay. I think they all just want a title. Embiid does not want to be another Allen Iverson. Yeah, Embiid loves this city. No matter what anybody says, Embiid loves Philadelphia so much. He does not want the fans to go through it, and he doesn't want to go through being looked at as the same type of guy as Allen Iverson. Mm-hmm. Somebody who had all the talent in the world. Allen Iverson gets so discredited because he didn't win a title.
Well, that's my point. So that's why, like, they might not necessarily care if he's top 75 or a little higher, but legacy-wise, what people are going to talk about, because that's what we do and what everyone else does, it will matter to an extent. I don't know how much, but it will matter if he does win a chip or not, because even when he's 31, 32 years old, even before when he was 30 in Brooklyn, 29, 30 years old, what are people talking about on ESPN and everything? James Harden hasn't won anything. James Harden hasn't won a championship. So now, 32 years old, he's in Philadelphia with Joel Embiid. They get bounced last year. That was the conversation throughout the whole first two rounds, was James Harden's got all this pressure on him. James Harden's trying to get to a championship. And now, especially with how he forced his way out of Houston and then everything that transpired in Brooklyn, that's kind of what the microscope's on right now. And the fact that he's taken more of a pay cut to bring in help and reinforcements to get that championship here, there is pressure, and it'll definitely have a mark on his legacy, but it's not going to demote him if he doesn't win a championship in the next couple of years. But it can help his legacy if he wins a championship.
So then the question is, have they done enough? I mean, there might be a trade at some point. Here. Oh, okay, go ahead.
Go ahead. Finish it. No, finish it.
Okay, I was going to say, look, here's the thing. I talked about it a lot lately, timing in sports. When you're all in, being all in at the right time. Have the Sixers done enough? Because right now, they're all in. There's no doubt about it. They still might make a trade, whether it's Matisse or Tobias or whatever. Maybe. We'll see. Maybe one of the Morris twins come here. But you still got Giannis and a great Bucks team. You still got the Heat, a very good team. You still got the Celtics, just played in the finals. The Raptors are no slouch of a team. The Eastern Conference is stacked right now. So is it enough what we've done to be able to beat those teams in a set? I don't care about the regular season. I care about the 7-game series come playoff time. Have we done enough to match up with these teams? Dylan, go ahead.
So this is my point, right? So what did we talk about yesterday, Phil, with the Eagles? It feels like they're right there, right there, and they have one missing piece left, right?
Don't you say it.
And it's a person on the team. This is the same feeling I have with the 76ers. Everyone's sitting here, and we love the PJ Tucker signing, we love Daniel House signing, we love the DeAnthony Melton trade, but it still feels like if you're going back to last year's finish, they might need one more piece possibly to compete. But everyone's missing the big thing, and it's what he says in the article. He talks about how he had those numbers, blah, blah, blah. He said he wasn't right last year. If James Harden is not 38 per night in 2018 in Houston, but if James Harden is any form of James Harden, that's the missing piece. That's it. They're already there. If James Harden, I'm not asking him to average 32 and 13. If James Harden is James Harden, shoots and scores efficiently around the rim and from three, and you know, has that bounce again and can average 25, 26, 27 a night, they're already there. They do not need anything else because he is that missing piece, because he'll be a superstar again.
I think that's an excellent point, Dylan. Go ahead, Cole.
To what Scotty said, the Sixers are ready now. I feel like the Sixers have been ready. Outside of the bubble year, I think the Sixers have been ready to win a title since the Kawhi shot. And I think if Kawhi misses that shot, they win the title. But back to the main point is the Sixers are better than they were last year. They're by a good amount. George Niang is not your sixth man anymore. You're not going to have Shake Milton coming into your rotation.
No, George is about the ninth man now.
Yeah, George will come in like George Niang should, play a couple minutes a night, play like 9-10 minutes a night, hit a couple threes, have probably a few good defensive stands, and then get off the court. That's about what George Niang should be doing. He is a solid ninth guy off the bench. But when he's your sixth man, when you have him out there for 25 minutes a night and you need him to put up double-digit points and constantly be making plays on the defensive end, that's where you run into an issue.
So here's my final thoughts on this, and I get you guys answers on this. Whether they add a Morris to the bench, you know, with a minimum or one of their exceptions there, that's fine. But I actually, at this point, because I agree with what both of you guys have said about Harden and this team being ready right now, I think they should not make any trade for Matisse or Tobias right now, because this team right now can compete. But we don't know what's going to happen 3 weeks into the season, a month into the season. God forbid someone gets hurt. God forbid Harden isn't what we hope he's going to be. Somebody takes a step back. You need trade chips come mid-season or that pivot. You got to be able to pivot at some point. Go ahead.
These comments aren't real, right? I don't want to get rid of Maxey for KD.
Yeah. Well, I'm not going to get into that this morning. I'm not going to get into that this morning. But and I love Tyrese Maxey more than anybody, but come on.
Yeah.
What's the name? It's something that Gimp brought up on Monday on the Faithful Fanatics. This is why it feels different, like they're almost there or they are there as well. What in previous years around the deadline, it just felt like you need more at the deadline. Like last year, you go out and you have to give up a ton to get James Harden. The year before that, they only go out and get George Hill, but you knew they needed more, blah, blah, blah. This year, with the way Daryl constructed this roster and the depth in the offseason, when you get to deadline time, you're hopefully just, if you need anything, just one little small cog to finish it. And that's something they've missed in previous years. Like, you went out and got Harden, and we were all excited, yes, and it gave him a shot, yes. But you had to give up three players or whatever, and it was going to take time to mesh. Now it's like, here's the roster. If you need something, we're just going to push it in at the deadline time.
Right. And this is a problem that the Phillies have. Like, the Phillies need to make trades, but they don't have any assets to trade.
Right.
To make those,
and they need multiple pieces.
Oh, yeah, also,
the Sixers, you have Shake Milton, you've got George Niang, you've got Matisse Thybulle, you got Tobias Harris, you've got pieces that you might be able to trade for that little piece, that little tweak that needs done. Let's just roll with this roster as it is right now, because this roster is much better than it is, especially if James Harden's a little bit better, and that tweak can be made if you don't blow all your assets. Like, I don't want to see a huge trade for Reggie Bullock right now.
No.
wasting multiple trade assets because is Reggie Bullock really the difference right now that's going to put you over the top? I don't think it's necessary.
The keeping
I think
Matisse
that's a
point is very
deadline
interesting.
Mhm.
Yeah, the keeping Matisse point is very interesting because right now there was an article the other day about what is it, fourth year guy or fifth year options or whatever, and it doesn't quite sound like the Sixers are into the idea of extending Matisse at this point right now. His value couldn't be lower at this point in time, seeing how he played last year and seeing his minutes, go down. If he can come out and be a better and more productive three-point shooter, I know we talk about this hypothetical every offseason, but if he can, think about the value he has at the deadline with his defense, his age, and if he can shoot league average from three, that's the piece you can then flip at the deadline for something
all
valuable.
of a sudden he increases his value though like that, he might be that missing piece that we don't need to get rid
Well,
of. He might be
sure, but
that missing piece could also
he's going to come off the bench. And if all
That
of a sudden
missing
he
piece-
develops a three-point shot,
I would start him. I would start him to start the season.
so would I.
that missing piece might be a backup center as well. Because
I
right
agree.
now, Charles Bassey, I don't know if he's going to cut it. Dwight Howard's still a free agent, right?
I have no idea.
I have no. Yeah, I don't know either.
I mean, I would bring him back. I mean, I know this guy's fun on coming.
don't know.
Somebody, because much as I would love to think Charles Bassey and Paul Reed can get the job done, I don't think they will. I'm going to be honest. I think the Sixers at some point are going to bring in.
Matisse last year, early in the season, showed some confidence. He wasn't knocking it down, but early in the season, you saw moments where Matisse wasn't hesitating on his shot. And I think that's the first step to making the shots is not having a hesitation. There were a couple games I think he went like 0 for 4, 0 for 5. Missing one shot did not make him lose his confidence. They've got to somehow get into his head. Look, if you miss a shot, you miss a shot. Your defense makes up for it. And it's when he starts hesitating that all of a sudden the shot looks awkward. He starts becoming a major.
The layups go off the top of the backboard.
He's looking like a worse version of Ben Simmons.
That's as much mental with Matisse as it is physical with Matisse.
Oh, that ended well. That ended well for us last time with the guy who was struggling to shoot. That's ended real well for us the last two times, actually. Paul Colts and Ben Simmons. Wow, we got a real good. Whew.
Let's wrap this show up with one other topic because I want to talk. I promised I was going to cover as many sports as possible. We even covered pumpkin pie and Thanksgiving dinner menu and everything else.
We mentioned probably 7 or 8 sports today.
Did anyone see the new Cape May and Wawa collaboration?
I did.
I did not.
Coffee, alcohol doesn't do anything for me.
I'm not old enough to drink, so it doesn't matter to me.
Yeah, because that's never stopped anybody that's 20 years old.
Well, I don't drink, so.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. He's got vodka in that cup right now.
What's in the mug?
He's got coffee and sambuca. Yeah, there might be some sambuca in there.
Yeah.
I don't even know what the hell that. I have no clue what that is.
Dylan, sambuca and coffee is that the most disgusting thing? My father-in-law orders it when we're out to dinner all the time. I think it's.
I've never had it, and
disgusting.
I won't order it. I promise you that.
It's disgusting. Absolutely disgusting. All right, so I was on the Painted Lines over-under show last night. Okay, and we were talking about all different stats, for this upcoming Eagles season, over-under. And they set the line at over-under 10.5 sacks with Hassan Reddick. And it got me thinking, because I literally, no lie, said over, and I don't know what made me say it, but I went on the show, and I just popped out of my head, 18.5 sacks with Hassan Reddick this upcoming season. Because let's be honest, as I said it and then I talked myself into it, then I explained why, this defensive front seven is stacked. We've got better cornerbacks this year. So they're not going to be quick 3-second passes because, of every defense. Josh Sweat, I think he takes a little step back. He doesn't buy it. Derek Barnett, not playing on that big first-round contract anymore. Less pressure. Brandon Graham looks great in videos so far. You've got better linebackers, Kazir White, Nakobe Dean, TJ Edwards still. The 18.5 sacks, that puts him since 2000 as the leader in Eagles sacks because Jason Babin had 18 in 2005 or 6, whenever that wide 9 season was, or 2008 maybe it was. Had 15.5 sacks one year. I think Hassan Reddick could challenge for the modern-day Eagles sack record because this front seven is stacked. Last year we had 31 sacks. The year before we had like 48 sacks or something like that. This team could challenge a 50 sack season because our front four, front seven, our front nine is so deep and so stacked. Am I insane? Cole looks like he's ready to like lose his shit there because I said that. Am I insane to think that we could push 50 sacks and then Hassan Reddick could push 20 sacks this year?
I mean, I don't think you're insane, but I definitely think it's a reach. I would like it's a defense that, I mean, as much as we are excited for this Eagles team, we have all these pieces in place. It's not really a defense that's proven much, and we know how we still have a pretty weak linebacking core.
No, we don't. No, we do not.
I mean, not weak, but it's not as good. It's not as good as people think. I don't like. People are banking on Nakobe Dean, who hasn't touched the field. Like
he has been on the field.
Kazir White.
He's playing
NFL
right now.
He's playing an NFL game.
Oh, well, I meant he's been in OTAs. Like, he's not playing because of the surgery.
I know. That's what I'm saying. Oh, no, I'm not worried about surgery. I'm just not – I think the defense is going to be good, but I wouldn't sit here and say 50 sacks.
I agree. I'm more on board with the 50 sacks point as a group around there.
Compared to the 20.
The 18.5 for him, it's definitely a reach. I think he goes to over to 10.5. I would say around the 13, 14 mark for him. Can he go over? Hell yeah, he can go over. But I don't know. It just sounds weird to have an Eagle be over 19, 20 sacks.
It absolutely does. Absolutely. And I say modern because no one's going to challenge Reggie White's got the career. I think it was 21 sacks Reggie White had one season. No one's going to get there. And if Jason Babin can get 18 sacks, so can Hassan Reddick. People undervalue
I agree.
Impact and that contract and everything about bringing Hassan Reddick to Philly. It's probably my favorite move of this offseason for the Eagles. And
I agree, and it's the most forgotten move as well.
Is it crazy to think that bringing in Hassan Reddick is going to make a bigger impact on this team than A.J. Brown?
No.
I think it is. I think he's going to make a bigger impact on this team.
No, I don't think – I think because of the fact that A.J. Brown is going to, in my opinion, help Jalen Hurts excel and reach his full potential. I think A.J. Brown's top 10 is a top 10 player, top 10 receiver in the league. I think that the fact that outside of Devontae Smith, who is always guarded by number ones, Jalen Hurts didn't really have many receivers last year. And now he's also going to help Devontae Smith get better because, now Devontae Smith will almost never be double covered. And even when he's going to be single covered by the number 2 corner with very little safety help, Devontae Smith's going to be in a lot of one-on-ones, and it's going to allow Devontae Smith and Jalen Hurts to both excel. It's going to allow Dallas Goedert to excel. It's going to allow the running game to be even better than it was last year. So A.J. Brown's impact is going to be higher than Hassan Reddick's.
I think it's closer than Cole thinks, Phil, but I will agree with Cole because I think if you move Hassan Reddick off of that defense, there's still pieces in place, especially in the front seven. If you move A.J. Brown off this Eagles wide receiving core, you're right back to where you were last year with Jalen Reagor and Quez Watkins being a number 2. And there's just a much more trickle-down effect of lack of talent.
I'm going to disagree with you on that. Because if you take Hassan Reddick off this defense, then 3 things happen. Brandon Graham, who's coming off a major injury and is how old now? 35 years old now? Or will be 35?
Somewhere around there.
There's back to being pressure on him. With Hassan Reddick, there's no pressure on him to be the old Brandon Graham. Derek Barnett has to start if you do not have Hassan Reddick. Now he can just be a rotational piece. He can be that Vinny Curry that just goes in there and blitzes the quarterback. Josh Sweat has to live up to his contract that he signed. Now he's got a little less pressure on him. You take Hassan Reddick. Right now it's Reddick, Graham, Sweat, and Barnett. You take Sweat out or Reddick out of there. Now it's Brandon Graham, Derek Barnett, and Josh Sweat. There's a big difference there if you take Hassan Reddick out of your top 4 pass rushers. A massive difference.
If you take A.J. Brown
there
away,
is, but I
agree with that on Cole.
Then he's back. Then Jalen Hurts is back to throwing the lawn chair and deck furniture. I'm serious because outside of Devontae Smith, who's going to catch the ball? Jalen Reagor? JJ think Whiteside's a tight end now.
Yeah.
I mean,
Hey,
Quez Watkins, I love him.
they brought in Zach Pascal. Come on now.
Hey, don't sleep on that signing now.
I do like the Zach Pascal signing. I do like the Zach Pascal signing, but I will tell you that if the Eagles will be much, much, much better, and Devontae Smith will be much, much, much better, and Jalen Hurts will be much, much, much better, with AJ Brown in compared to
Oh.
Zach Pascal.
Oh, duh.
Well, yeah,
But,
I mean,
but what I'm saying is, like, when they first signed the Pascal, that was right after Hassan Reddick, and I'm like, is Howie shit? Like, this is the offseason we're going with. Like, Zach Pascal's the upgrade, right? Now that Zach Pascal's like a number 4, a number 3
yeah,
slot
now,
option sometime, now it's a little more intriguing. And I'm like, yo, I'm like, oh, Zach Pascal.
Casey's counting up the sacks now. 10. I don't see Sweat getting 10. And he doesn't even, 2 for Barnett. He's going to get more than that. He's got Hargrave at 6. Cox isn't going to get 8 sacks. But yeah, I mean, you're on the, like, so I wrote it down last night as I was talking this out. 18.5 for Hargrave, 6 for Brandon Graham, 6 for Derek Barnett.
18 for Hargrave? Or you mean
No,
Reddick?
I didn't say that.
Reddick,
Casey said 6 for Hargrave, 8
No,
for
you said 18.5 for Hargrave. That's why I was concerned.
Hassan Reddick, sorry.
Okay, I was just making sure.
18.5 for Hassan Reddick, 6 for Brandon Graham and Derek Barnett, 4.5 for Sweat. That's 35 right there. Then you've got Cox and Hargrave, whether they get 3, 5 each and all. Then you got your linebackers. Dean will get a sack or 2, because your White will get a sack or 2. Maybe a safety will get a sack. It's not as
What's your over-under on Jordan Davis?
Jordan Davis for sacks?
Yeah, I know.
1.5 over-under? Yeah. It's not going to be much. Jordan Davis is going to play 50% of the time.
No, I know.
So, but Jordan Davis takes the pressure off of Brandon Graham, Hassan Reddick, and all these guys. But again,
I
you
don't have
take
as much
Hassan
as
Reddick off of it. It's a big difference.
I like I said, I agreed with Dylan on. I don't have as much of the issue with the 50 sacks. It's more of the 18.5 for Hassan Reddick, where I'm like, that's a little high.
The one thing that's really going to help Reddick, though, that where he will be playing is, like, he's an edge rusher, but he's technically a backer.
Mm-hmm.
And next to all these guys on the defensive front, he's going to be a stand-up edge rusher. He's not going to be down in the crouch where Brandon Graham plays, where Derek Barnett plays. I know Derek Barnett gets up out of the crouch sometimes, but Josh Sweat, he's going to just be a stand-up rusher, and he's just going to hit you with a bull rush. He's going to hit you with speed. He's got I saw a move he hit. Was it Laramie Tunsil with the other night on a highlight clip? Dude, he got to Davis Mills in about 0.2 seconds. Like that's what he's bringing to the table, which will accelerate his sack numbers, at least by a few, simply because he's not going to be on the line in the crouch, taking more time to get to the quarterback.
Look, I maybe I'm a little biased for Hassan Reddick. I've wanted Hassan Reddick on the Eagles for several years now. Before last season, the Cardinals were talking about wanting to get rid of him, and I
he was a free agent last season too.
Yeah, exactly. And they mid-season they were talking. I suggested on a show somewhere along the line Zach Ertz for Hassan Reddick because we needed to get rid of Zach Ertz. We needed, Hassan Reddick.
Yeah, Zach
Ertz ended up.
Really
Ertz ended up there. Hassan Reddick ended up here, so maybe that wasn't totally crazy.
Yeah.
As it sounded, I've wanted him, and we've needed that fear. When was the last time we've had some big sack totals as a team? But when was the last time the Eagles had a truly fearsome defensive end pass rushing type guy? A guy like Joey Bosa or a guy that, J.J. Watt, that's just constant motor getting after the quarterback. It's been a long time. The U. Douglases of the world, the Trent Coles of the world. We haven't had that type of guy.
Trent Cole's probably the last one.
I would say Trent Cole.
I would say Trent Cole. How long ago was that? A long time ago.
I was like 8 or 9.
Maybe I'm just a little overhyped for him just because I love defense. I love defensive line. I love blitzing the quarterback more so than offense. I'm just maybe a little hyped on him. But Hassan Reddick's effect on this team and defense is going to be unmatched this year. You guys
matched by AJ Brown. I mean, that's still match it. Yeah, I'm saying it's going to be what AJ Brown. Even if AJ Brown doesn't even have a greater season receiving as we would think.
Was there ever a more ineffective, useless 18.5 sacks than Jason Babin's 18.5 sacks that one year? I mean,
that was the dream team.
That was the dream team.
Yeah,
that was pathetic. How can a guy have 18.5 sacks?
I was 9 when the dream team was a thing.
If I would have asked you who was the last person to have over 15.5 sacks, would you have guessed Jason Babin?
No, I would have guessed Nambi Oswald, baby.
Jason Babin
Nambi Oswald, the GOAT. Dude, I loved watching LaShawn McCoy and Asante Samuel say how everyone knew after the first practice that it was going to be a disaster and he was overrated.
Hilarious. Clay Harbor quote tweeted it. It was apparently it was Clay Harbor that did it, not Brent Selleck, because he talked about how Brent Selleck burned him with a poster or whatever, and Clay Harbor quote tweeted it and was like, was actually me, and it was a out slant or whatever.
Dude, that
And I
team,
was
I
like,
just
oh, shit.
like Dominic Brothers-Cromartie.
Dude, I thought that was going to be the greatest defense ever. It's like I
Yeah.
was younger, but the Namdi signing was the biggest shock of the offseason. The DRC, that was a Kevin Cobb trade, right?
I think so. Because Vic was the quarterback and Vince Young was his backup.
Yeah. I
Like
think
it
they
was
got
just
rid of Kevin Cobb.
oh my god, that team. Which I mean, that Kevin Cobb, he wasn't gonna do anything. Anyway,
First of all, remember Kevin Cobb? Jesus.
Yeah, I'll never forget him in the Kelly Greens getting hit so hard. He comes up with the grass in his helmet. And that's when Mike Vick was born.
I kind of feel bad
born.
because you know what, he wasn't he probably should never have been drafted here. He should never have come here. But those concussions he took, I mean, he took some nasty hits. We had an awful offensive line at the time. You know, compared to now, you put Kevin Cobb behind our offensive line, maybe he doesn't get hurt. He probably doesn't succeed as a quarterback, but he probably doesn't. Dude, I've read some stories of the headaches that he deals with on a regular basis now, still in his life.
Yeah.
And dude, the dude's effed up for the rest of his life. It's pretty bad.
That's sad.
Yeah,
I was watching. I saw a clip of a podcast with David Carr on it, and it was the funniest thing I've ever seen in my life. They were talking about like the differences in today's game, like hitting the quarterback and what wasn't called back then. And they show the clip as he's talking about it, and they asked him about like his worst hits, and he literally, his jaw like drops, and he goes, "Dude, Dwight Freeney hit me in my chin, and I went to sleep." And there wasn't a call. And then they show the clip of Dwight Freeney with the Colts, just like closelining him under his chin. He hits the ground, doesn't move, no flag. Plays the next play.
The saddest story, if you do, is you go. There was I don't think it was a 30 for 30, but there was a segment on ESPN about Jim McMahon. This was years ago, and they had the interview supposedly took like an entire day because multiple times throughout the interview he forgot what he was doing. And he told the story. He's like, dude, I will literally get up. I'll see the mailman drop the mail off in my driveway. I will get up to walk down the driveway to get the mail, get to the end of the driveway, forget what I'm doing, forget where I'm at, and have no clue. And all he was doing was getting up from his chair and walking down his driveway to get his mail. So that's the extreme of the extremes right there for sure. And I couldn't even imagine that.
And I remember, I see interviews about that Bears team. He literally cannot go without wearing sunglasses.
No. It was also his cool image. It was part,
Yeah, but
it was part of that too.
Yeah, I'm aware. My dad's a Bears fan. He told me all about it.
It was a great team. Anyway, we're going to wrap it up there. I think we've covered 18 sports, 19 different pies. We've made fun of each other.
The PLL got talked about.
Yeah. We talked about everything. This has been very interesting episode here today. Fantastic episode. Make sure if you're watching this on replay, you hit the like and the subscribe button on YouTube. And if you're watching on other social media platforms, head over there. We are almost at 600 subscribers. Want to get there really soon so we can start pounding the table for 700.
This was probably the biggest podcast that the PLL has gotten mentioned on that wasn't like PLL sponsored.
I love it. All right, we're going to wrap it up for the day. Trending in the AM. I am your host, Phil Stifel. Make sure you shoot me a follow at Bearded Knowledge. We got intern Cole PT628 on Twitter, and Dylan Davis, Dylan JD98. Cole, you'll be back tomorrow. Dylan, I don't know. We'll see you again on here.
You're going to be on Wednesday.
Maybe not. We'll see.
You're going to be on Wednesday. Is this a Wednesday crew now?
Maybe this is, we'll see. Yeah. We'll see what happens here. Everybody have a great day. Enjoy. Stay out of the heat, guys. It's going to be hot as hell in the Philadelphia area. And, we've covered every sport. So I don't know whether to say ring the bell, go Birds, 6. I don't know. I don't know what to say. We're just playing.
Ring the bell, baby.